Hey guys, what's up? This is Tom Burkhart from Car Revs Daily. Going out really quick in the 2014 Acura MDX, which feels extremely luxurious on first sitting. I really like the dash materials. They feel really, really high quality. And we're at just gonna lean in. Do a little quick adjustment over here of the GoPro. So lane departure warnings are a little bit new to me, so I'm just getting used to how to cars that have these. It's pretty nice. It comes up right in the dash display and lets you know that there is that I was veering outside my lane, and you have lane departure warning that you can turn off over here with just a little button, which is also a feature that shows up on the new Accord, which is definitely a really, really nice feature, especially because if you're distracted like I am and you're just trying to do something else while you're driving, it's not obviously a great thing to be doing, but sometimes you have to try to do stuff while you're driving, particularly for like a family car like this. You want to have as many safety features like that as possible, because it makes it for an easier and more relaxing drive for moms and dads who have a car full of kids. So this MDX is redesigned for 2014 and brings a new style and significantly more with a little bit better performance and some new features. I'm not actually a huge fan of the style, but I do like the LED lighting, which I think is really, really interesting and unique up front, and that's for the low beams and the high beams. So that's a unique feature that lets Acura stand apart in the marketplace, which is becoming very, very crowded for 7-seat luxury crossovers. But the Acura, really has owned this segment for a long time. As much as the RX, the Lexus RX has really been popular for like the crossover hybrid segment, the MDX has been the real king dog, or big dog, I guess you could say, in the 7-seater dimension. So, but lately, there's been a lot of inroads, particularly by like the Buick Enclave and Chevy Traverse and GMC Acadia, as well as the new Mazda CX-9 is very, very impressive, and we could run down the list. The BMW X5 seats 7 right now, and we have with an optional third row seat. We also have the new Tahoe. I mean, there's literally like 30 or 40 7-seat soft rotors or real off-roaders out there these days, which is problematic because the MDX has lost a lot of that like distinctiveness and unique style that made it such a crisp and butch car for many years. So this, for the 2014, it's a softer car, but it does major on refinement and extremely updated technology. So we have dual touchscreens here. We have a single touchscreen here, as well as a giant display screen up top, and the car certainly feels very, very comfortable. I like its sense of width, but it also feels like a little more manageable than the big Tahoe, which is literally an enormous machine, and that could be pretty intimidating for some people to drive at times, particularly if you're in an urban environment. I mean, it's nicer to have a car-based crossover, not just because it rides smoother and gets better fuel economy, but because it's so much more maneuverable. So that's going to be the MDX's real selling point for this current generation is of course that refinement and its new luxury features. You've got a pretty classy slide-out tray here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but lots of classy features and fittings for this new MDX, which leverages a lot of the latest tech and stuff from the big. From the big RLX, which is new this year. And so how does it drive? It drives pretty nicely. It's got sort of like an old-fashioned kick down from the automatic transmission. This is a 6-speed automatic from Acura, which is pretty different than most of the best competitors these days are running 8-speed automatics. And the difference, really, in addition to being a little bit less thrifty with fuel economy, is that with the 6-speed automatic, you get a much bigger type of kick down effect, which we just saw. So when you really hit the gas, it's and it will really make every effort to do like the big downshift and get you moving. Whereas with the newer transmissions, they don't really have to do as big of a kickdown to achieve the same level of movement. It could just, like, instead of kicking down, let's say like 2 gears, it just needs to go, or fill in the blank. But it doesn't need to have like the big violent kickdown. So that's a little bit of a demerit for the MDX this year. The steering actually is not that bad. This is I believe this is an all-wheel drive model. So it's of course, steering feel was never really like the key USP for these crossovers, and it's definitely a lot better than the steering. It feels natural and much more like a luxury car level of firmness and weighting versus the Kia Sorento SXL, which is like now my exemplar car of like really, really bad steering. So it's this car might actually be front wheel drive, in which case the steering feel is pretty good overall, letting you without much torque steer, pulling out with big throttle from a corner somewhere. It rides really quietly, but I'm not sure that it's quite as smooth as people might want it to be. It's a little choppier than I expected, because this car is really pretty floaty in the corners. So you would want it to have like a really pillowy type of ride, but it's a little bumpy. It does feel good though. I mean, it definitely feels like a premium product, thanks to the materials and the build quality, which seems good. It seems pretty good. This car is still built in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. Which, it's very, very subtle, the differences that you'll notice between the cars from Toyota and Lexus and Acura and Honda, the Japanese cars versus the US cars. It's very subtle, but there's a pretty, I mean, if you're in a lot of the different cars, you can kind of get a sense of it. I mean, everything just seems to fit a little bit tighter in the cars from Japan, with like less flobble and wobble around of some fittings and stuff. And that's not just like the quality of the workforce or the quality of the machines. I mean, it's also like the suppliers and like a real attention to detail that comes from the luxury lines from Acura and Lexus. But so this car needs to feel more special than the Honda Pilot, with which it shares its platform, and it definitely does. I'd say it's very comfortably much more luxurious than the Pilot. But is that enough to really make it sort of put it on someone's shopping list who might also be considering like an Audi Q7, for example? I'm not sure. I would say it's still a lot cheaper than the Audi Q7, but if you do have that desire for like high-speed confidence and really, really good dynamics and sort of like German performance car brake feel, it's not really something that's on offer with the MDX, even for 2014. But if you're looking to upgrade from like a general market car, I think you'd be very, very pleased with the MDX's equipment, level of refinement, and ease of use, which is really good. I mean, it's really a very easy car. So let's do a big start. Sounds pretty good. It's got a little bit of a gurgle on upshift, which sounds nice. It's not exactly, it's not a fast car. I would say it's probably about like 8 seconds even to 60 miles an hour, which is not the speediest car you'll ever find, but also not the slowest. So we're gonna take some pictures here in the daisies, and we'll check back for the review. Thanks.